Nicky Devlin's 80th minute winner for the Dons yesterday proved to be enough. His 11th goal of his tenure at Aberdeen Football Club on his 111th appearance for the Dons. It's 5 league wins from 7. It's our 5th clean sheet in the last 7 games. And it's our 4th 1-0 win in the last 6 Premiership games. It means this, that we've climbed to 7th in the table. And if results go our way come Wednesday, when we play at home to St Mirren, we could find ourselves in the top half of the table for the first time this season. How about that then? Hello everybody, a very warm welcome to Ali Beg AB TV this Monday night. It's really good to be back. Sorry that I've missed the past few shows. I've been on my travels. So here we are and we're back. So tonight, got a rather comprehensive review show for you after Aberdeen's win against Livingston yesterday. Going to be speaking with Andrew Budge. So Andrew and I discuss in detail some of the analysis from yesterday's game, where things basically, despite us winning, and this is not us being downtrodden, despite the win, there's still lots to be concerned about and lots to be improved on. Andrew's coming up a little bit later. Get in touch. Let me know what you're thinking after yesterday's win and what you thought of the game. So, before we get into everything, the football club in the past couple of hours put out a tweet, a post, whatever you like to call it, in regards to the new community stadium. And the headline was, Aberdeen FC committed to invest tens of millions into new community stadium. So just let me read some of the report that came out from the football club earlier this evening. It basically said the club is at a loss to understand what prompted Councillor McClellan to make such personal and misleading remarks about Aberdeen Football Club in relation to the community stadium project in Saturday's Press and Journal. The report goes on to say he knows full well that the site at Budge is only a small part of what the club offered to bring to this project. The co-leaders of the council promised at a meeting with the club around 18 months ago to have their executive team research in detail similar projects in the UK where a football club is the anchor tenant in a community stadium that fuels economic growth. In the knowledge that Aberdeen Football Club would be committed to providing a rent and rates income stream. There's a couple of other interesting paragraphs that it says. Just let me read. It said here, but instead, all we've seen from them, as in the councillors, are misleading briefings to the media, dismissing the economic report by a reputable company used by the Scottish Government, and disparaging what our supporters bring to this city, including the 130,000 fans who turned up for the open-top bus parade after the Scottish Cup win. It finishes off by saying, the leaders of the opposition parties understand this. Sadly, our current administration does not and continues to deliberately miss the point, which is both disappointing and disingenuous. That's what the football club had to say in response to reports that came out in the P&J at the weekend from the local council. If you want to have your say in it, do. The live chat is now well and truly open. So, to yesterday's game. First and foremost, let's start with the team that the manager picked. So he made 4 changes from the team that drew with Noah. In came Sivert Hilton-Nielsen, a surprise to many. The captain returned at left back. Stuart Armstrong took the place of Topi Keskinen, and Marko Lazetic came in for Kevin Nisbet, who dropped down to the bench. Dante Polvara and Alexander Jensen also missed out. I have to say, when I saw the team, I was like, I don't get it. I'm not getting this at all. And I felt that the first half display was as bad as the second half display against Noah, if not worse. Here are your match stats. Livingston enjoyed 55.7% of possession to our 44.3. They had 15 shots to our 14, of which 3 were on target to our 4. Touches inside the box, they enjoyed 29 to our 13. Pass accuracy, 79.9% for Livingston, but only 72.8% for us. And can I also tell you that our crossing accuracy currently is the worst in the league. And in the first half, Livingston enjoyed 58% of the ball. They had 10 shots at our goal, of which 7 came from inside the box. There is still a lot of work to be done. Alibeg ABTV is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. Not just that, they offer a number of services including torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding. So if any of those services interest you, feel free to get in touch with Saltire Direct or come to me and I will put you in touch with the relevant people there. So, the first half yesterday, honestly, I thought it was appalling. I really did. We were at complete 6s and 7s. We were pedestrian. I didn't understand the starting lineup. And I'm sorry to sound so downbeat after a win. An important 3 points. But we can't play football like how we played in the first half. It's not doing us any favours whatsoever. Livingston are bottom of the league. And to their great credit, looked miles ahead of us in the first half. And I tip my hat to them because I really thought they caused us lots of problems. But those problems could easily have been eradicated. Thank goodness he changed it up in the second half, where he brought on legs. And I felt there was much better balance to the team and we looked more interested. This is what the manager had to say after the game.
I think in the first half we were wide open, but I also want to say Livingston played well also. It's not only about us. They did a lot of things really well. And we managed to find a way to stay in the game. It was not perfect. It was not so pretty, but we find a way to did some really good saves. The defenders did some good blocks in our box. And then in the second half, we were more stable, get better balance in our team. Still not a perfect performance, but it was a good performance when you think about how we played today and find a way to win. And then we get a period there we were more stable and get some transitions and some opportunities. Still, they were dangerous in the link-up play. They did really well there, but we were, again, focused on the right areas. And then we find a winning goal, and the subs today did much more impact than the last game. And it's good that we have everybody in the right direction now because we have so many games now in a short turnarounds, and we need all the energy we have. And it's good to see that the players are coming in and everybody sharing responsibility for the results.
The substitutions you touched on there, when you made them, it seemed to give a little more impetus to Aberdeen's play, a bit quicker.
Yes, I said, we play a lot of games now, and I think in the beginning of second half we were more stable. Then it's also easier to come in when the game is working a little bit better. But the energy they put into the pitch was exactly what we need in that moment. And so it's like, again, when we play so many games, you have to make an impact when you get the chance and opportunity to play, and they really did today.
Thanks to the manager. Right, let's get you guys on before we bring on Andrew, just to read out some of your early thoughts, see how we're all doing. Cameron Young came on and said, absolutely brilliant yesterday from Nicky to get the 80th minute winner. Glad we've moved up the table to 7th. Now on to Wednesday against St Mirren. Let's keep the good results coming. John Grant says, hi all, as frustrating as it is watching the Dons, we at least aren't shipping goals, so we have the opportunity to win the game. I honestly don't know our best team and players' best positions right now. He came back to say, we still look powder puff up front. Ryan Ellington is here wishing you a good evening. Martin Smith says, okay, so we're hard to beat now, but dearie me, we don't look like we'll create a bunch of chances, let alone goals. Why, oh why don't we have a shot decision? Decision making is still awful. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, good evening all. Poor game yesterday, but once again we grind a result out and got 3 points. Hopefully we can get more 3 points on board and playing better, but hopefully it'll all come together. Craig Thompson says, does anyone else think Sokla should be brought back? Suze is here. She says, good evening, dandies. David Horn is also here. Good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Not a great watch yesterday, but it's another 3 points and it's a clean sheet. The Mad Ferret is asking how you all are. Now, for some reason, I don't know why it's doing this, but your proper names are not coming up on my live chat. So I think this is Barry. Terrible watch, but 3 points are 3 points. 1-0 to the Dons. He's wishing you all a good evening. Paul Hannon is here. Yesterday, it wasn't a European hangover. It was more a lack of confidence. Every player on the pitch can play football, yet the ability was poor. Dougie Fern says, we seriously need a consistent goal scorer or two. Nearly 4 months into the season and top goal scorer Jesper on 4. Next is Marco, only on 2. Kirsten is here. Good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Shocking performance yesterday, but we'll take the 3 points. David Gould says, good evening, dandies. It's been a while. Davy Sharp says, any new stadium must be within the city boundaries. Anything else is unacceptable. Sequentia says, we got the win, but the worrying thing is that we are struggling against everyone. All the teams that we used to beat regularly play much better football than us these days. Barry came back to ask you a very simple question. Does anyone think JT will be here next season? David Gold came back to say the council really don't like the football club, and the previous administration in charge of the council were no better. The Gallaglass said those same opposition parties are the ones blocked the stadium at Cove in 2012. Politicians will be politicians. James Brown is asking, are these Aberdeen City Councillors Aberdonians or just career politicians from elsewhere? They always seem to be at odds with AFC. Right, we'll come back to more of your comments because there's plenty coming in. In the meantime, let's bring on Andrew Budge. So Andrew and I discussed in detail, this chat is about 13 minutes long. And what we've done is we've pinpointed where we're just not getting it right and where some individuals need to take more responsibility and play more for the team. It all makes sense during the chat. Welcome back to the show, Andrew Budge. Hello, mate. How you doing? Are you keeping fine?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Ali.
Good man. Okay, so I'm going to ask you for your general thoughts on yesterday's games, but just let me have my tuppence. So was that the Noah game on Thursday, the UEFA Conference League? First half, okay. Second half, honestly, mate, I was losing the will to live, and I thought it couldn't get any worse. Then I watched the first half of yesterday's game against Livingston, and I'm like, yeah, it's got worse. Oh my God, mate.
Yeah. It certainly has. That was a really poor first half. I think we're pretty fortunate to come in at level at half time, to be honest. I think better teams could have really punished us. I don't think Livingston played badly, but they just didn't really take their chances. We were just so passive. So many things we've said in recent weeks about certain performances, really passive out of possession, not really much intensity to our game, really slack in possession, giving the ball away so carelessly, which we'll come on to. Just really poor. I thought we picked it up a little bit in the second half and managed to get a goal, which is great. It's one of those ones where you just kind of want to forget that game happened. You got the 3 points somehow and just file it under away to one side and say we got it, we're up the road 3 points. But yeah, we'll come on to that, but I think there's a lot we need to learn from.
Possession. Oh my goodness me, fella, honestly. This is terrible because I feel like we're sort of being a bit down about it all, considering we've got the win.
Yeah.
But the reason that we're doing this is to show that against better teams, we're going to get punished time and time again. Losing possession yesterday was doing my nut in.
Yeah, no, yeah, I completely agree on it may seem like we're being negative, but you kind of not got to get high with the highs and too lows with the lows. And we've won a couple of games, but we could easily have 2 points from that. We could easily have
Yeah.
no points from that. And we've got six somehow in the past two league games. But yeah, we were really, really poor in possession, particularly in the first half yesterday. There's a couple of different instances we'll pull up, but so many players were just so careless in possession, which was giving away these really cheap turnovers in our own half, which was just so dangerous. And honestly, I could have picked out numerous instances of us just being losing the ball in our own half in really dangerous areas, and sort of Livingston running at our back line. Amazingly, the first one that I'll pull up here is within 53 seconds, which I mean says it all, to be honest, and how
Yeah.
to not start a game of football. I think we even started with the centre, and we're still committing turnovers like this in their own half within 53 seconds. It's just, I don't know how that's possible. But yeah, it's Nilsson in this instance. And we're kind of trying to play little combinations and further into our half. And he tries to play a short ball to Ashish, and it's just intercepted so easily. We've turned on to the next example, and you just see the resulting sort of counter attack from Livingston. You've got three bodies there, Yengi and Stevie May, just driving at our back line. It goes out for a corner within sort of a minute, and yes, they didn't score from this occasion, but it's also just given them a really dangerous set piece, a corner within a minute. We talk about so much about momentum sometimes in the game, and we've just handed the momentum to them instantly within 1 minute. Really poor. I said before, there was numerous players who were at it. Yes, they in possession, just not taking care of the ball. But I think the worst one for me was Carlson. I really like Carlson, sort of he's really talented. He's got a lot going for his game, but yesterday I was really quite concerned with some of the sort of characteristics I saw, to be honest. The example we pull up here on the 15th minute, what I've seen so often from him in recent games, he's got the potential to win games by himself, and he's clearly really talented, but I think he can be really guilty of overplaying. I think he takes too many touches at the ball. I don't think he moves it quick enough, and I think he can be quite self-centered at points, to be honest, with the ball. I don't think he moves it around fast enough or to other teammates enough. In this instance, it looks so simple. We're on the edge of our own box, effectively on the left-hand side. The ball there to Armstrong is completely open. He's calling for it. He's got his hand out. It should be a really simple ball. He's already taken one touch at this point. I think he could have played it first time to try and move it quicker. Doesn't play the pass to him. Takes another touch, and you can see sort of Shinnie pushing forward there in this occasion as well. So he's trying to attack forward. Armstrong's in space. He could easily take the ball in the turn and really start driving at the Livingston defence. Going to the next sort of graphic, the ball's so carelessly given away. Again, if you see the number of arrows we've got here, there's so many Livingston players just ready to capitalise on that turnover. And what really frustrated me from this was the reaction of Carlson. Like, we can kind of show that there in the graphic. I wish we could show sort of highlights, but like you see his head up in the sky. Just, I know you're frustrated, but just the lack of willingness to sort of put your head down and run after the ball or get back in position, especially with, you can see Shinnie further forward with his hands out, again, so exacerbated by the fact that he's ran out of position, tried to drive forward and sort of build an attack, and we give the ball away. Just not enough of a reaction from Carlson there. And then we move it on to that final example where Livingston get into our box, and thankfully Knoster gets a really good block in. But that's exactly the space right there is where Carlson should be. Like, if he's got enough, I don't know, like integrity or being humble, just like, I've lost the ball, I'm going to run back. I'm going to do my best to stop an attack. But if fast forward, it's sort of 10 seconds after that, it's actually Shinnie who gets back before him, which says a lot when Shinnie was sort of 20 metres up the field from him. Just really concerning to that, to be honest. I think we can't be having individuals or carrying individuals like that. Carlson's a really talented player, but like, if he wasn't the best player in the team, you'd want to hook him after stuff like that, to be honest. I don't think we can be having passengers like that, regardless of how talented you are. Thankfully, we kind of got away with it, as I said before, but sort of that sloppiness in possession has been a hallmark of our game in the past sort of 12 to 18 months. And yeah, we really need to learn from that, because we've got 2 wins, and I'm thankful we have, but it's not sustainable, and other teams will exploit that.
Yeah, we can't afford to have luxury players, and I must admit, as much as I like Jesper Karlsson, he is frustrating me. Not the fact that for me at the moment, I don't think he's bringing much to the team. And I'm finding him incredibly selfish. And that's what's annoying me. And the lack of getting back in is becoming a real concern for me. But as we always do here on the show, this is not a pylon. This is just showing
No.
where against better teams, we're going to get punished. And I think we got punished a couple of times against Noah where he was guilty of giving the ball away and they broke quickly.
Yeah.
But us in possession, Andrew, what did you make of our shape and how did you see it at the end?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You kind of got to look at it through the sort of lens of the change in formation. I
Yeah.
think we've definitely look a lot more solid, and I think it's maybe came to the detriment of how fluid we are going forward. So, I think what we were guilty of too often in recent games with this formation is having too many players too deep in our own half when we're trying to build up. We don't have enough players sort of further forward ahead of the ball as a sort of forward passing option. I just think there's too many sideways or lateral passing options, and we just don't have enough men committed forward. And I think I've got a good graphic here that kind of visualizes that, where I put up on screen. You can just even see there from the number of bodies, it's Nilsson in possession in the centre of the park. And you've just got so many players, even just outside of our own box there, that I just don't really think we need to have. It's so easy for Livingston to defend that because everything's in front of them. Nothing's really behind them. None of the midfielders really have to worry about too much behind them. There's not really many runs in behind either for the defenders. Everything's in front of them and everything's really safe. And how I'd like to see this improved would be, I just think we need the starting positions of so many of these players just to be further forward. You could almost kind of push a lot of these players up to the next man that's next to them. So, I mean, starting with the goalkeeper, I don't think we need sort of Jack Milne in front of the goalkeeper there. Loads of good teams. I know it's a bit more of a risk to have your keeper play with the ball more, but if Mitov is where Jack Milne is, Jack Milne can move to one side. You can push up Devlin further up. You can have sort of Shinnie on the left hand side, him much further up. That pushes Knoster up, and you just need to use the space a lot more intelligently. I think Celtic are really good at this. They have their keeper in possession at points, and their defenders are pushed a bit further up. Their midfielders are further up, and it just means you've got actual forward passing options rather than having to go side to side and side to side, which we see so often. And kind of following on from this example, I don't know how many times in the first half we kind of options and players, and then just eventually sort of played it long to Lazetic, who was really isolated.
Yeah.
If you have players who in their starting position, and yeah, it's a little bit more risky, but if you push Shinnie up and you push Lobben up, you can then push Carlson inside, and he's maybe next to Lazetic, a bit more of an option to sort of win a header or sort of challenge for the ball, and maybe just give him a bit more players to sort of bounce off. I just found in the first half and in too many games recently, and I think this was I saw this quite a lot under Robson towards the end. Any sort of square options and just not enough sort of verticality in their play, and just not enough players pushing forward or occupying more advanced positions. I'm surprised we've not tried to fix this or spot this. I just think it's far too cautious. I mean, we've looked a lot more solid, so I can kind of understand it. And I think something did need to change in terms of the shape because we were on such a poor run. But now that we've kind of got a bit more solidity in our sort of shape and starting lineup, I'd just like to see us be a little bit more expansive in possession.
Just to finish off, mate, just a quick word about the skipper yesterday. I thought, he's been asked to do a job at left back, and I must admit, at first I was like, why is he putting the skipper at left back when we've got Gyamfi and we've got the young lad Mitchell Frame, who just, forgive the pun, is nowhere near the frame at the moment. I want to see what this kid is all about.
Yeah,
So at first I was like, oh, what are we doing putting him at left back? But I thought he put in a fantastic shift, and I thought his will to win that ball,
yeah,
to lay it off to Toppy, to obviously cross it for Nicky Devlin to score the winner, his desire every single game, despite his age, where he is, all that sort of stuff. I thought he was magnificent yesterday, I have to say.
yeah. You just you can't put a value on that sort of determination, and
Yeah,
you kind of compare that to what we saw from Carlson's reaction to losing the ball.
yeah,
Carlson's like 3, 4 times the player of Shinnie, I'm sure technically,
yeah.
but if you're not going to run and track back, then it's just not worth as much. But yeah, I thought he had a good game, and he's been asked to play in positions or roles maybe he's not as comfortable with, and he's still stuck to it. And as you said, won the ball back in the lead up to the goal. I'm just really happy for Keskinen as well. I think I'd like to see him start, to be honest. I think we maybe should have started him yesterday. I think the lineup yesterday maybe wasn't the correct one. I know we're balancing a lot of games right now, but I feel like potentially Keskinen should have started with the run that he's on, and he's just making contributions off the bench as well. Even when you look back at away in Larnaca, he came off the bench and looked really positive. Had the goal against Hearts. I thought he was pretty good against Noah at points, and then again came off the bench today and looked really good. So I think there's certain players that are doing really well or just really starting to pick up form. So hopefully see more from them in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, fella. Great to see you as always. Thank you so much. Enjoy the St Mirren game. I know it's will that be a late start for you or an early start?
Oh, let me think. When is that? Is that Wednesday evening?
That's Wednesday evening. Yeah, quarter to
they're
8,
good ones.
like.
They're good. That's like 6:45 a.m. for me. So
Oh, that's
good.
not so bad then. That's a nice early alarm call.
Not 2 a.m.
Tremendous. All right, mate. Brilliant. I'll see you soon.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, fella. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you, Andrew. Let me gently remind you at this stage of the show that Ali Beg AB TV is brought to you by Craig International, a global procurement company, forefront, a leader, with offices based all over the world, including America. They're also in Canada. They're also in the Middle East, in the Far East. They're down in Australia as well. And their home offices are based in Aberdeen, as well as being on the European continent. So if procurement is your thing, then I suggest that you get in touch with the guys at Craig International. Or like I always say, if you want to get in touch with me, then I will put you in touch with them. Right, let's get back to your comments. Right. Kirsten came back to say, I would have started Nisbet after getting a goal against Noah, and he was better when he came on than Lazetic. Okay, so the game against Noah, I don't know how many else of you saw this, but at one point during the game, he looked like he was struggling. He was... I don't know how else to say this. He was rubbing his groin. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say it. But what I noticed was he was stretching and rubbing that area, which suggested to me that, he might have been struggling. And I'm wondering if that was why he was hooked and why he didn't start. It was just something that I noticed on Thursday night. Harding Grian, sorry guys, for some reason your actual names are not coming up anymore now. It's all your usernames that are coming up. So he said, good evening, Ali. A win is a win, no matter how you get it. At least Keskinen is starting to get his head up now instead of just running endlessly. Seems like there might be something there. I think you're absolutely right, mate. Howard Fowley says, why are we playing 30-plus age players with younger guys sitting on the bench? I could not agree more. Barry, in terms of the council, says, we have to remember Aberdeen City Council are skint. Paul Hannon came back. He said, must add, why play Shinnie on left when we have Guiamfe unless he's injured or even frame? Surely if Loban is given a chance, we should give other youngsters a chance. They are our future stars, as discussed in that chat, Paul. The Mad Ferret says, it was bad enough listening to the first half yesterday on Red TV. God knows how bad it must have been watching it. Martin Smith says, we've been pedestrian all season. There is no drive or pace of play. We're far too static. Why can't we try a 4-4-2 and move it down the channels with midfield arriving late? Dave Sharp says, I think Yimmy is trying to really carefully manage player minutes. I'll take a clatty 1-0 win away from home at Livy, to be honest. To be honest with you, mate, I think we all would. Clatty. I've never heard that word in ages. Sequentia says, Yimmy keeps talking about finding a way. He is supposed to train them so that they know the way. Scott Bowie says, 2 players annoy me. Carlson is just greedy and Mittoff's distribution is just absolutely honking. Seems to just give possession back 90% of the time, I should say. A Aberdad blog says, next 2 league games are winnable and things would look a lot more rosy should we beat a struggling St Mirren and then our visit to 3 Points Park on Tayside. A Bill came on to say, my fellow Don's pal Scotty Patterson from Shedixley, who funnily enough is assistant coach at Dundee, so good luck to you Scotty, Faye, Coco. I used to work with Scott at Shedixley, believe it or not, many moons ago. Right, at this juncture, I just thought we'd do a bit of reminiscing because I was home for a few days, went to the Noah game. I'd like to show you some of these pictures taken by the brilliant Darren McAllister, who caught the youngsters all walking down the Merklin Road ahead of the game, who I thought were absolutely fantastic. And he caught a couple of belters inside as well, Darren. Hugely talented photographer. So I just thought I'd show you a couple of these pictures. I loved being at Pittodrie on Thursday. It was absolutely brilliant, but by God was it cold. Dearie me. The displays were fantastic, as they always are. First half I thought we actually did okay, but oh God, the second half was absolutely dreadful. But it was really good to see everybody. Thank you to everyone that came over and said hello. And we even caught the goal. How about that then? From the North Stand. Like that? We caught the goal. Right, a couple of little things I want to do. So first and foremost, Paul Hannon, who usually sends me the pre or the post-match interviews that you see at the top of the shows, met up with him ahead of the game on Thursday. It was lovely to meet Paul and his lovely wife, Roseanne, who very kindly made me this. Can you see? It's a wee Santa. Look. And I've decided, because there's a couple of things here. Right, let me bring that a wee bit closer. Can you see? I'm going to stick it on my Christmas tree this year. So, Roseanne, thank you so much for sending that to me. And also, I was in the club shop and I picked up that, the official Scottish Cup winners book. I don't know if you've seen it or you've picked up a copy yourself. It's absolutely magnificent. It's a brilliant book. Oh my God, I loved reading every single minute of that book. I really did. So, as some of you have mentioned, our next game is Wednesday night at Pittodrie against St Mirren. 19:45 kickoff. So, because the game is not being shown live, which is my understanding, if it is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've not been able to see anywhere where the game is actually live on British TV. So, what I'm going to do, because I've not done one of these for a while, and because my kids are not with me on Wednesday night, I'm going to do a watch-along show. I really enjoy doing these shows, and I've decided that I'm definitely going to do it on Wednesday night. So the idea behind the watch-along show is, it's a little bit like, what's that show called that you guys watch back home, where folks sit in the living room and they watch TV? What's it called? Something box? I don't know what it's called. But that's the idea. Watch me watching the game, and I'm going to sort of report, commentate, as the game is going along. And the idea is that you guys watch with me and chuck in your comments. I'll read your comments out, all that sort of stuff. So we'll definitely do a watch-along show on Wednesday night, and we'll come on air 5 minutes before kickoff. The only thing I have to ask is, because of where I am geographically, it means there is a slight delay to you guys back home in the UK. So whatever you do, if we score, don't tell me. Let me react, because it's happened a couple of times. So we'll do that on Wednesday night. There'll also be a preview show ahead of that game tomorrow evening. In fact, we've got a show tonight. We've got a show tomorrow night. We've got the watch along on Wednesday. We'll have the review show to the St Mirren game on Thursday when Andrew will be back with us. There's going to be a preview show on Friday night as well. So I'm going to be basically with you every single night this week. Aye. I'm sorry. What's that called? Google Box? Goggle Box? Google Box or Goggle Box? Nah. Right. The Mad Ferret said his photos of the match on Thursday were brilliant, and one of them is now my phone screensaver. Nice. He's a really talented photographer. Absolutely brilliant, Darren, he is. Aberdeen blog came back to... oh no, sorry, I've already mentioned that. Goggle Box. Okay. Oh, a few of you are saying, yeah, let's do the watch-along show. Great. Dave says, my wife will think we're having an affair, Ali. Let me tell you, Dave, if we would, you'd be a very lucky boy. Let me tell you. God almighty. Right. You know how much I love my history. So today, look at this one. I found this one today. 25 years ago, look at that. Aberdeen part ways with manager Mark McGee. He took charge of 62 games, winning 17, drawing 13 and losing 32. 15 years ago. On this day in 1956, former Aberdeen midfielder Billy Stark was born. Billy played 149 games for the club between 1983 and 1987, scoring 60 goals. Billy celebrates his 69th birthday today. Right, before we finish off, a gentle reminder that Quipco International also sponsor us here on Ali Beg AB TV. Based in Abu Dhabi, they have a purpose-built facility out there and warehouse to help you guys in the oil industry with a number of oil and gas services, and they also manufacture a number of products as well. What I've listed there is literally just a very small percentage of what they do. So if you want to find out more about what they do, there's their contact details and their website address. But as always, as I said, if you want more information, just come to me and I'll put you in touch with the fine folk at Quipco. Billy Stark, one of the nicest guys that you will ever meet. Big friends with my uncle, former sports broadcaster and journalist Bill Marwick. Knew my grandfather very, very well. And the shirt behind me, the tracksuit behind me, Billy gave that to me many, many years ago. That is Sir Alex Ferguson's official club tracksuit from the 1983 Cup Winners' Cup final. And what Sir Alex Ferguson did was, not long after Billy signed for the club, which was just after we won the Cup Winners' Cup, Sir Alex gave Billy his tracksuit to make him feel part of the team, to welcome him and to make him feel that he was part of it all, which, as we all know, Sir Alex is just the absolute best at psychology. And many years ago, Billy came into a studio one day that I was working in and presented me with the tracksuit. The bottoms are hanging up over there. And he said to me basically that it would mean far much more to me than what it would to him, knowing how much of an Aberdeen fan I am, and that it was just collecting dust in his loft. It was one of the most touching moments of my life. I couldn't quite believe it when he offered me it. I'll be dead honest with you. I did not want to take, as much as I wanted to take it, I said no, I couldn't. I didn't want to, because for me, that deserved to be with Billy, but he was absolutely insistent. So I did take it in the end, and as you can see, it sits pride of place in the studio, and it is, apart from my children, it's my most treasured possession. It really is. I cannot speak highly enough of Billy Stark, and I think when he played at Aberdeen, for me, he was hugely underrated by the Aberdeen fan base, and used to get a lot of stick from if my memory serves me correct, and I could never understand that. He was a truly fantastic football player. Right, we're nearly done, so just a couple of more things. Do you know, I wish I could see your first names here. It's really annoying me now. I don't know what's happened there. Harding, Gray, I think it is. Ryan. No, it's Harding, Ryan. It's Ryan Harding. There we go. Right, Ryan. I think St Mirren is winnable, but it will be hard as they'll be hurting from these past couple of games, especially losing to Dundee last weekend. Paul Hannon is just reminding you all, please, to like, share, and subscribe. If you've not subscribed to the show yet, please do. We are motoring towards 4,800 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. Right, guys, I'm going to wish you a fond farewell, and I will see you again tomorrow night, 19:03 tomorrow. We will be back to the normal time. I'm looking ahead to the St Mirren game. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for all the really excellent comments that you put out tonight, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stand free. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.